Money Matters is brought to you by
Stanbic Bank. Moving forward.
With just a few days to the budget day on the 8th of June, anxiety and anticipation are growing as to how government will address the prevailing volatile economic environment. Unlike previous budgets, government economists this year will face the huge task of offering answers to the monumental economic challenges whose cumulative impact has seen the economy slip back into double-digit inflation territory. Coming up, huge continental land acquisitions and the story behind them. The success story of an agro-processor. And a digest on the major customer service flaws and how these can be overcome. But first, agriculture is no doubt the backbone of Uganda, employing over half the country's population. Now, despite its huge importance, the sector has remained limping, dogged by an array of challenges, stretching from its subsistence nature to the limited funding and land scarcity for those who want to do it extensively. Now, to put these challenges into perspective and the possible solutions to overcoming them is Marion Bradley, the country manager for the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD.
Let's begin with an overview of some of the programs that IFAD is involved in, particularly the specific programs and areas that you're covering and the expected outputs of those programs.
IFAD has 5 large-scale investment programs in Uganda, totaling about $150 million. We have 2 projects that we're supporting in the local Ministry of Local Government, District's Livelihood Support Program and Community Agricultural Infrastructure Improvement Program. And these programs are focused mainly on promoting the enabling environment for economic activities in rural areas. So we're focusing on the construction of community access roads, market centers, and under one of them, we're also promoting community development, literacy, marketing. Our 3rd project is the Rural Financial Services Program, and it's supporting about 738 SACCOs in sub-counties throughout Uganda. And our 4th project is the Vegetable Oil Development Project, which has supported sunflower production in northern Uganda and the introduction of oil palm in Kalangala district. We're also a co-financier of NADS.
If you were to quantify the difference that is being made by your intervention in terms of increased incomes, increased outputs, lives being touched, what would it be?
Well, we've carried out an impact assessment on one of our closed projects in the Ministry of Local Government, the Area-Based Modernization Program. And what we found was at project startup, only about 40% of farmers were selling in the market, were commercialized farmers. And at project closure, after the construction of community access roads and market centers, about 60% of the farmers were selling in the market. So that's one of a concrete accomplishment. We don't look so much at income increases because you never can really rely on whether a farmer is telling you the truth. What we do is we go and we look at the tangible things that we can see. So we can see in the villages where we've been working that people before who had mud houses with grass roofs now have buildings made with bricks or sandstone, and that they have aluminum roofs. We also look at the number of bicycles, the number of radios, whether their farmers have purchased vehicles, whether they have increased their reserves in terms of cattle. And we've seen, when we quantify it, in some programs we've seen as much as 30 to 50 to 70% increase in what we would call their general well-being.
the programs you mentioned, which is NADS, has been beset with a number of problems. How sure are you as IFAD and as a funding partner that the funds that you are giving to government are being channeled to the intended beneficiaries?
This is something that IFAD has taken very seriously. IFAD used to work through other institutions, and we didn't supervise our own programs. Since 2006, we have taken up direct supervision, so we go and we visit our projects at least twice a year with a team, with financial expert, technical expert, and I usually lead at least one of those supervisions myself. I think that in a country like Uganda that has financial systems that are still being put in place, it's very difficult to get 100% guarantee that the money is going where you want it to. We have undertaken a number of audits with the World Bank of NADS. We've had very serious discussions with the government. The government also has had a strong commitment to ensuring that funds are not diverted. We've had, in some cases, the funds have been returned because they haven't been spent in line with the loan agreements. Under other projects, we've had, you can occasionally have a whistleblower who might give you information so that you can specifically understand where there is an incidence of fraud and corruption, and IFAD will then send a team of investigators. Such a type of intervention is a wake-up call to all the projects. So we find that, and also our own openness, our willingness to listen to people. So while I couldn't put my hand and swear that 100% of the money is going where it should, I can certainly assure you that we're working with the government of Uganda to do our best to make sure that we reduce to a minimum any incidences of fraud and corruption.
Presently, about 30 million hectares of Africa's over 50 million hectares of arable land is feared to have been auctioned out to a host of corporations and governments. Data collected by the International Land Alliance adds that at least 30 African countries are affected in such concessions, often cloaked in secrecy, free access to water, tax exemptions, and repatriation of profits. Under the guise of supporting commercial agricultural investments, according to the Land Alliance, most investors are acquiring land at no cost with no restrictions on exports in return to loose promises to develop infrastructure and markets. In Insight this week, we explore that trend that has also been dubbed land grabs.
The current capacity of local farming communities in most African states, Uganda inclusive, to shape up into a commercial phase remains challenged owing to many factors. From managing weather challenges, use of hybrid seeds, technology application, and skills have all built up a wall of low agricultural productivity. It's these and such other scenarios that are in a way contributing to massive land grabs in most of African states, estimated by the International Land Alliance at over 30 million hectares of arable land.
Yeah, there is great fear in particular of multinationals, and this goes back to our government and the policies. If you look at it very critically, somebody just walks into this country and goes and buys land anywhere. Without identifying himself, he goes and buys land. Now, the multinationals have a lot of money.
But the concern on low agricultural productivity, particularly among smallholder farmers that dominate the sector, remains a thorn for COMESA countries, for which the Alliance for Commodity Trade in East and Southern Africa, CTESA, says can surpass the current $10.6 billion per year.
What we have discovered also from the product that they've developed, the smallholder farmers have come up with the need in some of the models that they need to be linked with the commercial farmers so that they can learn from them. Also, in the long run, one of the products was even talking about the commercial farmer acting like more like an outgrower for the smallholder farmers, to a point of even borrowing a loan on behalf.
It's also being argued that without disregarding competitiveness of emerging foreign commercial farmers, raiding the indigenous ones with incentives is the way out.
Yeah, it has been a problem in Uganda. You know, in Uganda, we have a problem of scarcity of land and also land tenure system. The reasons why we are looking at the small-scale farmers is that for them to do as a business. So at an aggregate level, we shall see that we shall have commercialization at an aggregate level. We are promoting these small-scale farmers. You know, in business or generally in the economy, it is the small-scale or SMEs that count most.
A regional meeting of COMESA members targeting farmer associations, groups, government entities and financial institutions here in Kampala last week sought to harmonize the above concerns.
So there is that loophole in that, on one side we have farmers who can produce, but the land holding is small. And on one hand, we have farmers who have a lot of land holding, but they do not have the capacity to produce. And therefore, that also brings in an opening or a loophole for foreign farmers to come in and take advantage of the situation.
Multinationals have taken up the commercialization of agriculture in Uganda, but we have given them a chance. Us. Why? Because they're not doing it. So by supporting these small holders, farmers, in a way we are boosting them up. Someone who is having 1-2 acres today, if they get the loans, they have insurance, they are covered, definitely they will spread out and they will buy more land. And by buying more land, again they are improving on their livelihood. And of course, who knows, one day they might be commercialized.